What if the key to a peaceful home environment lies in understanding ADHD from a different perspective? Welcome to the Arukah Holistic Podcast, where we explore transformative and holistic paths to wellness. I'm your host, Mayim Vega, and today we dive into a topic that resonates deeply with our mission at Arukah: the power of understanding and supporting children with ADHD. At Arukah, we are committed to empowering individuals through education and holistic healing. Through our Holistic Healer Certification Program, we guide people to become holistic healers with expertise in naturopathic herbalism, holistic life coaching, and online business and marketing. Today, I am thrilled to introduce Kristina from Calm Minds Parent Coaching. With 15 years of experience in education as a teacher and school counselor, Kristina has become a dedicated ADHD parenting coach. Her passion for supporting families shines through her work, and she helps parents create peaceful, supportive home environments, especially for children with ADHD. Like Arukah, Kristina believes in the power of empowerment, and her approach nurtures healthier family dynamics. So in this episode, Kristina shares her journey from educator to ADHD parenting coach, offering valuable insights into effective ADHD parenting strategies and actionable steps for parents. She also shares a special resource, the ADHD Parent Guide, to help families foster calm, thriving homes. So welcome, Kristina. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Awesome. Where are you calling from?
Delaware
Okay,
on the
awesome.
East Coast. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
besides being in Delaware, could you please
hmm
introduce yourself and just explain a little bit about how, and also very importantly, why you became an ADHD parent coach?
Absolutely. So thank you so much again for having me. So in my previous life, I was a third grade teacher. I was a classroom teacher for many years, and I moved into being a school counselor. And in both of those roles, I had the privilege to work with some of the most amazing students over the years. I feel like with ADHD, I was really able to connect with them on a really personal level. I have never been diagnosed with ADHD. However, I identify with all of the ADHD tendencies, and I believe that I have ADHD. So I was able to really connect with them on a personal level. And then when the pandemic hit, we know that it was a global crisis. Everyone, adults were in crisis, kids were in crisis. And I would say that the kids with ADHD really had a really especially hard time because an ADHD brain really thrives on structure and routine, and that was completely just taken away from kids. No more school at school. We have to now learn how to do school at home in our living room or our bedroom. And it was just very, very particularly difficult for those kids to try to adapt to this new reality. And so that was pretty much the catalyst for me creating Calm Minds Parent Coaching. I had a lot of parents reach out to me during the pandemic when I was a counselor, and especially a lot of parents with kids with ADHD. And they were like, I don't know what to do. My kid is having such a hard time with this transition. I really, really need help. I'm not a teacher. I don't know how this works. Please, please help me. And so I started Calm Minds Parent Coaching, and since then I've been privately coaching parents with kids with ADHD and teaching them effective strategies to try to serve their kids the best way possible and understand how an ADHD brain works. So it's been really fulfilling, and I'm really loving it.
Absolutely. I love, I totally do the same as you, and I self-identify as having
Yes.
ADHD. I
hmm
don't know if a psychiatrist would actually give me that diagnosis, but labeling myself that helps me to have more forgiveness of myself for
Yes.
making certain mistakes. So I like it. So
Yes.
what are some very specific ways that you help parents?
Sure. So the very first part is helping a parent understand an ADHD brain. Okay. So an ADHD brain, I like to share with parents, is very much like a Ferrari engine with bicycle brakes. So it's very hard to slow the swirl in the brain. And I can personally identify with that. It's very hard for me. I have a very active mind. And so it's really hard for me to slow everything that's going on in my brain. Um, and particularly with focus, I've struggled with. Now, there's two different types of ADHD. There's the type of ADHD where there's inattentive. It's very, very hard for a person with ADHD to focus on one thing, right? Or they can hyper focus on one thing and not really know what's going on around them. There's also the other part, which is the hyperactive part of ADHD, or I should say the hyperactive type of ADHD. Now, some kids are diagnosed with either attentive or hyperactive or combined, where they identify with both, right? So, the first step in working with parents is really helping them to just see, do they understand what ADHD really, really is? Kids with ADHD are typically a 30% behind their peers in executive functions like thinking, working memory, impulse control, emotional regulation, planning, prioritizing, uh, organization, task initiation. The list goes on, right? So if a child is 9, they're functioning more of a 6.5-year-old's um, performance level in terms of those executive functions that I just talked about. So I really help parents understand an ADHD brain. I help them adjust their expectations, right? Because a lot of times adults just have unrealistic expectations for kids to begin with. I help parents build in routines and structures into their homes because that is so, so important for a child with ADHD. So that may look like, creating chore charts and, posting visuals around the house for the kids. Um, helping them arm them with tools like using timers and emotional regulation is a huge part of ADHD. Being able to model for a child how to take a deep breath, right? Or how to self-advocate and say, I need a break right now. And a large part of my work with parents is also teaching them effective communication skills, right? We need to use simple, clear language with kids with ADHD. And we want to chunk or we call break things up, right? So we're not going to give a child with ADHD 4 directions at once, like go clean your room, go feed the dog, go make your bed, and then set the table. No, we would say, please go clean your room. And that was it. That's it. And then we would check in with them to see if they completed that task. Then we would give them the next directive. So, um, yeah, a large part of my work with parents is just getting them to understand what types of strategies and techniques really work with an ADHD brain. And then another part is it always starts with the parents, right? So making sure that the parents are checking in with themselves before they respond to a situation by yelling. Yelling does not work for an ADHD brain. When anyone is yelled at, their brain goes offline and they cannot retain things, they cannot learn things. And so a lot of it is just simple shifts in communication that I help parents with kids of ADHD, and just with those simple tweaks, just tiny, tiny tweaks, I've seen amazing transformations. So it's pretty great to see.
I love it. So, where can people find you? What is the best way to connect with you?
I have a Facebook group, which I'm sure will share my links. It is specifically for parents of kids with ADHD, and inside the group, I share a lot of tools and resources to support ADHD kids, and I also do a lot of free webinars, and they can also hop on my email list. So yeah, I would say my Facebook group, and then also they can find me on Instagram as well.
And how would they find your Facebook group?
So I think that we will be dropping the links in the notes or the
Okay, yeah, we'll
comments.
link to the link tree. I know you have a link tree page,
Yes,
and that
absolutely.
pretty much goes to everything, right?
Right. Yeah, in that you will find my Facebook group, my Instagram, my website. There's also a gift I'd like to share with the audience, and it's an ADHD parenting guide. And that's, I think, towards the top of my link tree. But yeah, link tree is where all the goodies are.
Okay, absolutely great. Some interesting statistics I'd like to read about ADHD.
Mhm.
ADHD affects about 5 to 7% of the global population, as I understand, making it one of the most common neurodevelopmental disorders worldwide. And so in the
Mhm.
US, about nine, and you can please correct me if I'm wrong on it in any of these, but
Mhm.
about 9.4% of children I hear ages 2 to 17 are diagnosed with ADHD. Probably, there probably, I'm guessing, a lot of adults that have ADHD, but maybe when they were children, people weren't really into diagnosing. And so they just kind of deal with it on their own without the diagnosis and maybe just self-identify like you and I.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then, of course, there's a gender discrepancy without
Mm.
without without even looking it up. I would have guessed already that men are um, have ADHD more so than women, because I
Absolutely.
understand that it's harder for them to juggle things, and still be um, productive and successful. So
Right.
ADHD is more commonly diagnosed in boys than in girls, with a ratio of about 2 to 1. And I kind of feel like that's because the things that we're expecting from children nowadays um, doesn't play well with the fact that boys are so energetic, and they're
Right.
meant to be the hunters of society, right? And so they're meant to be a
Hmm.
lot more physical. And our society today, we just emphasize more intellectual knowledge, which I think is it's a huge mistake. Um,
Absolutely. Like
not only
100. Oh, go ahead.
not
But
only for our intellect, but also for our health.
hmm
And also the value that we place on all of these sort of white collar jobs, indoor jobs versus the value of blue collar jobs, which are very physical. I think we need both in society. As a matter of fact, the most important things in life, I would argue, food, clothing, shelter, those are blue collar. It takes blue collar workers to address that. And I've heard of different schools and co-ops, some private, some public, who have incorporated things like farming and
hmm
very practical hands-on skills, building projects and things like that. And I
Right.
think it's such a shame also that a lot of the public schools have cut out things like physical education and things like that, which would really help not only children with ADHD to thrive better, but even
Right.
children without ADHD to thrive better and be
Ex
healthier and even focus more. Just because we're not diagnosed with ADHD doesn't mean that we can't benefit from everything that probably an ADHD diagnosed child could benefit from. So um,
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, yeah, the school systems are kind of designed to get you through school, then go to college, then, get your degree, where there are so many other opportunities out there, like with my husband used to work at a tech school, and so those kids literally learned how there was a cybersecurity program, there was a hairdress program, there was an automotive program. And I loved all those opportunities because, yeah, let's face it, like, first of all, we need all types of workers in the world, but we also need to be mindful that, yeah, sometimes kids would, or adults, people in general, would prefer to work with their hands, rather than being in an office. And so I totally agree. More schools need to offer opportunities like that. And I also like to add just too that ADHD has absolutely nothing to do with intelligence. It's just people with ADHD process things differently. And so I have personally had students that have come through my classroom, and now today they're engineers. I mean, these kids are brilliant. So there's so many misconceptions about ADHD, but I do think that you make such a great point when you say, yeah, we really need to provide more opportunities for kids with, diverse backgrounds and different types of jobs and opportunities. So thank you so much for bringing that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
Also, while ADHD is often diagnosed in childhood, about 60 to 70% of people with ADHD continue to experience symptoms into adulthood. And though it
yes,
may manifest differently, for example, more as attention and organization issues than hyperactivity, it's still important. And it's really important. I love what you're doing because you're helping people um, just navigate relationships
yeah,
with ADHD people, starting with parents, which is great. But I mean, that's going to have a chain reaction in society. The more awareness that people have about ADHD and how to deal with this, the more tolerance we'll have for people, the more we can leverage the the intellectual gifts, and not just
yes.
intellectual gifts, but all the gifts that people with ADHD have. One of my best friends in was it in high school college years, she had
Mhm.
ADHD. She was like the funnest person to hang out
Yes,
with. She was extremely intelligent. She could, I loved, just enjoyed being around her and talking to her. So having these diagnoses, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me. It just means that you're different, and people
right,
and normal people don't know how to fully handle you. But that's not
right,
necessarily your problem. It's
right.
a lot of times we as a society just need to evolve and need to stop trying to force people in these perfect little bricks, like you need to be like this and you
Yes.
need to fit into our system perfectly without disrupting anyone or blah blah blah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's so many myths out there about ADHD, like I had mentioned before. And one is that kids with ADHD are naughty and that they just need more consequences and punishments. And that's so far from the truth. Like, they do not respond well to yelling and punishments. They need someone who's going to be calm and patient and use clear communication with them, right? And you know, what else was I going to bring up to your point? Um, yeah, I just love how you said that so beautifully that we just need to understand that, you know, an ADHD brain is just different. It doesn't mean that, somebody's smarter or works harder or anything. To tell you the truth, I think that kids with ADHD, people with ADHD, work very, very hard. They do a lot of masking during the day and pretending like everything is fine. They're answering questions, they're participating, but inside, like that Ferrari engine is going and going and going. And so it's really, really hard for them to, you know, just put on a happy face, even though they look calm and they look happy and the grades are good. 9 times out of 10, they're going to come home and have that after school meltdown and just fall apart in front of their parents because that's their safe place. Their parents are their safe people, and they've been holding and masking all day long. So I think they're some of the strongest individuals that I've ever had the privilege of meeting and teaching and guiding. And I think that ADHD needs to be more viewed as a superpower than, you know, uh,
Yep,
disorder. So
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I would say that for a lot of quote unquote mental health issues as well.
right. I
So
agree.
another thing is that individuals with ADHD, this is a sad statistic, but that they are at higher risk of developing other mental health disorders such as
Mhm.
anxiety and depression and learning disabilities. And about half, 50% of individuals with ADHD also experience some form of anxiety disorder. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So it's funny, I was just doing an interview with someone this morning. She was an anxiety therapist, and we were talking about how ADHD and anxiety do go hand in hand. Not everybody with ADHD has anxiety, like a diagnosed anxiety, but emotional regulation is one of those executive functions, and ADHD is when you have a deficit in executive functions. So we're big feelers, right? We feel things very intensely. And I think the statistic that the anxiety therapist shared with me earlier was that right now, the latest research says that about 30% of people with ADHD also have anxiety. And also, I've read that people with ADHD are at high risk for addiction, and as you mentioned before, depression and other mental health disorders. So that's also something that, parents need to be very mindful of. It's not that someone's being bad. A lot of things you can't control. Your brain is different, right? And so just adults and teachers and educators and all of us just need to rally around and support people with ADHD and just be mindful that, yeah, if you have ADHD, yeah, you are at higher risk for another mental health um, disorder. And we just need to support them and model for them how to use a healthy coping skill, get an ADHD coach or a therapist, and just, tap into all the resources that you can. And if you are a listener out there with a child with ADHD that may have anxiety as well, or you're just kind of on the fence and wondering and want to learn more, please reach out to me because um, not only, did I work with kids with ADHD and I was a teacher and a counselor, but I've also, I self-diagnosed as ADHD. I know in my heart I have it because I've always had focus issues and always wondered, like, why is everyone finished before me and blah, blah, blah. But I've also struggled with anxiety. So I feel that. I feel that when you brought that up, like, it's a constant struggle. I struggled with masking when I was in school and pretending like, oh, everything's great, but then I would come home and fall apart. So, um, yeah, it's just very, very important. And also, dopamine in the brain plays a major role in ADHD because it directly affects the brain's ability to focus, regulate emotions, make decisions, and in people with ADHD, dopamine levels tend to be lower. So that's another part. Sometimes they're like, maybe she just has anxiety too. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. Maybe her dopamine's just low. And so as parents and educators and everyone out there, that's just another thing that we need to be mindful of is just knowing how to effectively communicate, in a way that is nurturing to our children and not yelling and screaming. Um, and just be mindful of all these statistics out there around ADHD and how to support kids.
Absolutely. And I know there's, different types of experts that you could go to for
Mhm.
help, but I love what you do because you are not a psychiatrist and you do not
No,
prescribe drugs. So I think that personally, I believe that the skills that you are teaching people are more important than than the drugs that are usually the first, go-to solution that people try, which is not really a solution, I believe, because even if they have the drugs, that first of all, they come with tons of side effects. But second
right,
of all, it doesn't really help you understand ADHD and how to manage it. And you're going to need that skill. You're going to need that skill in your life, regardless if you of whether you go the psychiatric route or not. Um,
right.
yeah, and so I really love. So, do you work with both the parent and the children directly?
I usually just work with the parent because it all starts with the parent and really educating the parent how ADHD works. And I will say, in terms of medication, you're right, I'm not a psychiatrist. So when parents come to me and they're like, I don't know what to do, I don't want to do medication, I never sway a parent either way. I know that's a really difficult decision. In my experience in the classroom, there are kids that were textbook definition of ADHD. I've had kids who literally were medicated when they came into school and they were not medicated. It was like they were drunk, literally. So I do see the advantage for some kids with the medication. However, I don't think it's the first thing that we need to try, like
Or
you
the
had
only
mentioned,
thing.
or the only
It
thing.
definitely shouldn't be the only thing.
It should not be the only thing. We need to know, these communication, like how to communicate and how to support kids, right? And another part of it too is gut brain health, right? What are we feeding our kids? Are they going to school after eating a whole bowl of Fruit Loops? Or, with an ADHD brain, protein is really important. And so we need to be mindful of dietary changes too. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I, don't make, tailored meal plans or anything like that, but I will bring up the importance of really being mindful of what your kids are putting into their systems, for sure.
Absolutely. I was actually going to
Hmm.
go there next. I am a naturopathic herbalist and I do train people on diet and supplements and things like that. And
That's
studies
great.
suggest that certain dietary changes, such as reducing sugar intake and
Hmm.
consuming omega-3 fatty acids, and just like you said, good quality meat, especially red meat, and
Hmm.
avoiding food additives can help manage ADHD symptoms, along with, of course, regular exercise, sleep hygiene, mindfulness practices. All these things are very beneficial. And
Absolutely.
I love coaching. I love working with coaches, life coaches, health coaches, because a lot of things like you can easily find like on a Google search, right? But
Right.
but there's a vast difference between like reading a book versus having a mentor, a guide to help keep you
Yes.
accountable, to help you see the blind spots that you may be missing, to help you process maybe hard situations that you've gone through that day or that week and help you understand, strategize how to deal with it the next time it might come around. It's just like any serious athlete. If
Yep.
they're a serious athlete, they're going to hire a coach to help them.
Hmm.
If you don't hire a coach, you're not, as an athlete, you're not giving yourself the best possible chance. And it's the same thing in life. We need good coaches, good mentors, things like that. And I understand you have a lot of free resources, just like your guide that you mentioned earlier, and you have
Hmm.
the webinars, which usually webinars are free or low cost. So,
Hmm.
you maybe start there. I think that's a great place. And just probably following you on social
Yeah.
media, and you're going to be sharing all these helpful tips to people. I mean, that's another great start. So definitely, the link tree is going to be definitely attached to this, and you'll get her free guide, a link to her Facebook group, social media, follow, subscribe to the email list. I mean, everything. This is going to be a great start, if you haven't, or addition to empowering your journey and helping you through your child's special needs, not special needs in a negative way, special needs in
Right.
a awesome, super powered way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just urge, parents, say you think that your child has ADHD, they haven't been formally diagnosed. Sometimes parents, like, we don't know what we don't know, right? So if you just have any questions, I also offer a free consultation just to listen and hear what's going on and be able to just help you gain clarity just in our phone call around, whatever the situation may be in your home and how I can support you.
I love that. And you know
Mhm.
what? That's so much value that you were giving to people. Really, seriously, please take her up on that because, oh my goodness, just usually initial discovery sessions with coaches, they can be so empowering and so enlightening and also sometimes
Yes.
so releasing, of a lot of
Yes.
burdens. Just really try it, guys. It's pretty amazing.
Yes. Yes. I couldn't agree with you more. Like you said, helping them identify the blind spots, it can be really helpful. So, yeah, let's hop on a call. I'd love to support you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Kristina, and for this so important, valuable discussion that we're having. Um, you know, more and more people are becoming aware, and learning how to deal with it naturally. But it's not enough yet, and
Right.
until we don't no longer marginalize and look down upon people with ADHD, we need to keep
Mhm.
talking about it and empowering people with strategies. So
Yes.
to close, would you just please give, just your one final message to parents of ADHD children? What would you like to say?
I'd like to share that I really, really encourage you to let go of perfection, adjust your expectations, and just know that it all starts with us, with the parent. We need to be able to check ourselves before we can, you know, engage with our child who is having a meltdown or they're completely dysregulated. We need to make sure that we are regulated first, right? So regulate yourself first, let go of perfection. It doesn't exist. It's actually, I've heard recently, holding yourself to that standard is a form of self-abuse, and holding your kids to that standard is unrealistic. So just let go of that idea of things being perfect and learn how to adjust your expectations accordingly.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Algar and I am the host of Expertise TV, and I'm very excited to be introducing you to our guest today, Mayim Vega. Now, Mayim Vega is a former NASA computer scientist turned holistic healer after facing a very personal health crisis, which the modern medical system could not resolve. In 2009, she founded Arukah.com, which offers an holistic healer certification program focusing on 3 pillars: naturopathic herbalism, holistic life coaching, and online business and marketing to empower people to become holistic healers and achieve maximum impact in the world. Mayim combines her scientific background, natural healing methods, and faith in the creator and great physician to guide others on a path to personal and professional well-being. Mayim, it's clear that you are very passionate about the topic of holistic health and particularly helping people who are wanting to transition into this approach. How did you find yourself in this line of work, and why is this work so important to you?
Thank you, Ashley, for taking the time to speak with me. And I'd love to answer that question. So, the way I found myself in this line of work starts with my story of when I transitioned from becoming a computer scientist at the NASA Ames Research Center to becoming an entrepreneur and building my first online business in digital marketing. And the reason why I did that is so that I could stay at home and be with my newly born son at the time. And now I have 7 children of my own, and I always wanted to homeschool them and just be there for them. And so that's why I became an entrepreneur. But my first few years as an entrepreneur was extremely difficult. And I thought it was healthy, but later on, after all my studies, I realized there were a lot of things that I was doing that was not very healthy. They were not very healthy habits that I had. And what ended up happening was I got really sick and I thought I was on my deathbed. And I was rushed to the emergency room. And the doctor actually thought that I had a brain tumor. But after extensive testing and examination, she told me that there was nothing wrong with me. I was experiencing a lot of pain, but they had nothing for me. There was nothing they could do for me. She said that she could give me some really strong painkillers, but that's really it. She couldn't really get rid of the problem. And so I took the painkillers, but again, painkillers and any pharmaceutical drug never address the root cause of illness and disease. And that's exactly why this line of work is so important to me and why I went on my own personal journey to become a holistic healer, to study nutrition, herbalism, holistic health, and holistic life coaching, is because we all know people, and maybe probably even ourselves, who, just like me, went to the modern medical system because that's the expected thing to do. That's a normal thing to do. And, try to get health and healing that way, but hit a dead end, hit a brick wall, and we either got medications that didn't work or that only worked for a while, or that caused side effects that were so terrible that we had to get on other medications, plural, and maybe even the medication or medications caused side effects that caused other health issues. And sometimes the health issues are worse than the first problem that you originally had. And we're on this ridiculous roller coaster of drug after treatment after procedure, because the modern medical system never addresses the root cause. And medical professionals who have woken up know this. And that's why I have medical professionals in my program, including, doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, medical technicians, etc., who are learning from me, who are, taking the certification program, because they realize that our system is broken and we need to fix it. It is our destiny as humanity to overcome all this nonsense, really. We can do better and we will do better. I know it. And that's why, in my certification program, sometimes I joke around. No, it's not really a joke, but I say, I'm empowering not just holistic healers, but holistic warriors. We're in a battle. We're in a battle over our own health and healing to safeguard and protect that, and that of our families and friends and community, of course, as well. And we're also in a battle against very powerful people who, because of profits, like to suppress holistic health and healing truths to keep us just sick enough so that we need something, pharmaceuticals, but not well enough to ever get off them. That is truly the goal of big pharma, of the pharmaceutical industry. It's not true. They don't want to heal us. They don't want to cure us. They want to keep us just sick enough so that we keep giving them our money. And you know what? Me personally, I have better things to spend with my money, like on good food, clean herbs, things that don't cause these ridiculous side effects that we experience with pharmaceutical drugs.
Thank you, Mayim. So that brings me to my next question. What are some of the key benefits of transitioning from the conventional healing approach to a holistic approach in health and healing?
Okay, so that's another really great and important question. The key benefits of transitioning from conventional healing to a holistic approach are, right now, I can think of three main reasons. Number one, the holistic approach is safer. Number two, the holistic approach is more effective. And number three, the holistic approach is the true approach that gets to the root cause. Okay. Now, I'd like to illustrate the first point, the safety of holistic medicine. If someone who was taking some, let's say blood pressure medication or something like that, visited me at my house, let's say I invited them over for dinner, and let's say they had to take some of their medicine and they dropped one of their pills, right, in my dining room or in my living room floor. Now, I have very small children. I have a 4-year-old. And what if my 4-year-old found that pill on the floor and thought it was candy or something like that and put it in her mouth and ate it? What would happen? I would immediately have to call the poison control center to get that pill out of her system, because those pills can have deadly side effects. But what if someone dropped a vitamin C pill or a tincture, and one of my children found it? For the most part, if they found it and took it, they might have a little diarrhea. It might be really spicy on their tongue, and so they would stop taking it. But no, I wouldn't have to control the poison control center, because vitamins and herbs and minerals are extremely, like 1,000 times safer than pharmaceutical drugs. There's a few types of, supplements that you might have to call the poison control center, but for the most part, no, you won't have to do that because our body knows how to work with those substances. It is not a drug. It is a healing tool. Okay. So completely safe. Also, exercise, diet, those are all safe, right? Sleep, those are all part of holistic health and healing. Completely safe, zero side effects. Now, let's talk about the effectiveness. The holistic approach is more effective. And the reason why we know this is because in my practice, and this is the experience of many holistic healers, when it comes to the conventional ways with the pharmaceutical drugs, as I said before, they don't deal with the root cause. They just mask symptoms. So, you might take a cough suppressant, let's say, for example, but if you are not dealing with the root cause, why are you coughing in the first place? Why do you have allergies? Why do you have the flu, etc.? Why is your immune system not strong enough to overcome this in just a few hours or just a day or two overnight? Why? Because you have not built up your immune system. You haven't boosted it or lived the kind of life that you need to in order to avoid those common illnesses altogether. I have one of my students is a medical doctor, and she said that she used to take anti-allergy drugs every single week because of her allergies. The allergy drugs don't boost your immune system. They just suppress it. They just oppress your allergy symptoms. But when you have allergy symptoms, it's your body talking to you and telling you, hey, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this thing that you're eating or this environment that you've just stepped into because of my state of being. I'm not strong enough. That's what your immune system is saying to you. But I taught her a really powerful vitamin protocol that actually boosts your immune system so that your immune system is strong enough to overcome allergies. And so that's the difference. It is effective because it is true. It is true holistic health and healing because it strengthens your immune system. It doesn't silence it, like I said before. And the third issue is the root cause. Holistic health and healing deals with the root cause, and the conventional approach of drugs and surgery, etc., does not. That doesn't mean that you sometimes don't need surgery, for example, or in an emergency situation need a drug, but you're not dealing with the root cause. And if you deal with the root cause, you can make your problems either go away or become extremely minimal, safely, effectively, and naturally without poisoning your body and causing the roller coaster of side effects.
Mayim, you have developed an incredible program that you've already mentioned called the Arukah Holistic Healer Certification Program, which you have specifically created for those looking to either transition into the holistic approach or for those who are wanting to grow in their knowledge and practice. Can you talk us through what differentiates this program from other similar programs that are currently out there?
Thank you, Ashley. Yes, the certification program at arukah.com is really, truly incredible. And there's a few things that set it apart, actually, many things, but I'd like to focus on a few. And one of them is that when I designed the program, I designed it for someone who is in my situation many years ago, someone who was a busy mom who had a lot of work to do and, a lot of things on her plate, but still wanted to empower herself with the knowledge of holistic health and healing for herself, for her family, so she could take care of her family, and maybe even build a career where very specifically, she could stay at home and just like me, be a stay-at-home mom. And, even a homeschool mom. I've been a homeschool mom. My oldest is 20 now, and I homeschooled him the whole way. And he's already graduated college, and he's got a computer science degree, and he's an entrepreneur himself. I instilled that dream in him. So being able to, I was able to surpass my income at NASA, and still homeschool my children. It's pretty awesome achievement. And so I wanted to empower people in my program to do exactly the same as I've done, to become a holistic healer, to have a successful online business so that they can have time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, meaning that there's no glass ceiling. No one who you need to get a raise from. You just have to help people. That's how I get paid, is when I help people, right? And so that's one of the advantages. Another advantage is it's very hands-on and apprenticeship based. And you could go to a college to study to become a naturopathic doctor, or another holistic professional like a chiropractor. But it's going to take a lot more money, and a lot more time as well. This program can be completed in 1 year, but because, all of my students pretty much are busy professionals already, or busy moms, it's self-paced. So, if you have a lot of things on your plate, it's okay. It's still going to be there for you. There's not like a time limit. You're not going to, your grade's not going to be lowered because you submit an assignment late or anything like that. It's self-paced. And so I've designed it for the busy mom, or the working woman. And another thing that sets it apart is we have three core pillars in our program. One is that our students study naturopathic herbalism. And that takes up the bulk of our program. And naturopathic herbalism includes studying the foundations of holistic health and healing, identifying toxins and detoxification, also nutrition and orthomolecular nutrition, or megadose vitamin therapy, as well as herbalism, which includes also homeopathy and aromatherapy with essential oils. And also they study Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. But it's mostly focused on Western medicine, Western herbalism, And then the next core pillar, the second one, is holistic life coaching. And the reason why holistic life coaching is part of the program is to incorporate the mind spirit aspect of it, right? If herbs and supplements are the alternative to pharmaceutical drugs, well, holistic life coaching is like the holistic alternative to psychiatry. It deals with the mind and the spirit, and spirit has to be part of it because we are spiritual beings. We're not just physical beings. We're also spiritual beings. Now, a lot of holistic health and healing schools are based on, different religions, New Age, or, other pagan religions. And this program, because I'm Jewish, is based on the Creator. It's based on the Bible and biblical principles, Judeo-Christian principles. And so therefore, I have a lot of people who are of that faith persuasion, Jews, Christians, or people who maybe, they don't really identify as Jewish or Christian, but they're open to it, or they grew up in that faith. And they don't necessarily want all the new age spirituality. They want the kind of spirituality that they are comfortable with and used to. That's another thing that sets us apart. And life coaching is all about mindset and how to have healthy relationships with yourself, with others. Of course, also, with food and your body and lifestyle. Holistic life coaching encompasses all of that. And it's a very important part of holistic health and healing, especially because stress is often the root cause of many illnesses, common illnesses, and also chronic diseases. So, that mind and spirit aspect is very important. And the third aspect is online business marketing. And again, the reason why that's important is because, as I told you, I really want my students to thrive and to be able to, have that time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, which which an online business provides. But also because, there's not a lot of jobs for herbalists, or life coaches even. And so we really have to be entrepreneurial. And it's very, very rewarding. And because of my background, with my digital marketing business, my first business, I can really help people in that department.
Thanks so much, Mayim. So I love the power of testimony and hearing people's personal experiences or journeys. Can you share some of the success stories that might be coming to mind or testimonials from past students?
Yes, we certainly have a lot of success stories and testimonials, and we'll show some of those testimonials at the end of our talk today in this video. But I could talk about a few of them that are maybe recent. One of them is one of my students. She told me that she wanted to become a nutritionist, but I guess her life's journey didn't really allow for that. So when she heard about my program, my certification program, when it first launched, she joined, and she really wanted to help her husband, who had been suffering from colitis under the care of doctors for about 20 years, ever since he was in the military. And he was going from medication to medication and, suffering with diarrhea and insomnia and restless legs and indigestion and, all these terrible things that colitis can cause. And so I actually created a custom module for her to help her husband with that. And in 2 months, she helped her husband get off the medication and heal from colitis using food and herbs and natural holistic healing methods. So that was a great accomplishment for her. And, I get people, contacting me saying that I helped them grow their hair back, or actually someone said, "Oh, you helped save, you helped save a little girl's life," just beautiful, wonderful things like that. You helped me heal my daughter, you helped me grow, regrow my teeth so I don't have pain from cavities anymore, like just all these wonderful testimonies. And that's the reason why I love doing what I do. And, and you will too, if you join the program. It's so rewarding and fulfilling to understand and to know that you are helping people, truly helping people in ways that they can't get in the modern medical system. It's so rewarding.
Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mayim. I can only imagine the sense of reward when people start applying these principles to their lives and actually see a change and transformation. And for somebody as passionate as you are around this topic, to witness that and to be a part of that, I imagine that the reward is priceless. So another common question that arises is, once someone completes the program, what are some of the practical steps one would take in order to start a successful career in holistic health?
Okay, that's a great question. And that's actually what the third pillar of our program is all about is, what do you do? Practical steps on what you would do to start a successful career in holistic health. And in that program, we teach our students how to create a high ticket transformational health coaching program that really helps people deal with a serious problem, a serious health issue. And that doesn't mean that it's a deadly problem, but it can be something that really affects their life, right? Even skin disorders can really affect your life, right? Even though it's not necessarily deadly. Weight loss could be something that is dealing with a serious issue. There's so many different types of health coaching programs that one can make, anxiety, depression, hormonal issues, etc. So they build, and it's part of the program. They will do this while they're still in the program, and we'll support them the whole way. Is to build that first high ticket health coaching program, and then set up their online assets such as their website, their social media, a video sales letter, press releases, podcasts, all those things that online entrepreneurs need in order to connect with people, get their message of health and healing out there, and build and grow and scale their business.
Thank you so much, Mayim. It's been so great talking with you today. But before we close, for those that would like to get started on the journey to becoming an holistic healer and wanting to learn a little bit more about the certification program, how do they go about contacting you?
Yes, it's been wonderful talking to you today as well. And for all those who would like to get started on their journey to become a holistic healer and learn more about the certification program, all they need to do is visit the website, www.arukah.com, ARUKAH.com, and dig into that and schedule a discovery call. And I would love to be your mentor, your health coach, your teacher in guiding you to become a holistic healer, to become the healer of your home and your family and your community, and to help you build a profitable online health coaching business.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Mayim. So there we have it, folks. If you are ready to move forward in your own journey of becoming a holistic healer, then you can visit the website at www.arukah.com, where you can schedule your first discovery call. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.